Welcome to another episode of Sit Down with Saxon. I'm here with my colleague Daniel Floyd.
Hello.
And today we're going to talk about Range Rovers and the issues they have with theft. This is a rather interesting topic and one that isn't really going away.
No, it's a mess, isn't it?
We are insurance brokers and we see firsthand the issues that nearly every single Range Rover, Sport, Evoque, Defender, full fat Range Rover autobiography owners have, because they are all in a right old pickle. Right, we're going to kick it off with some mind-blowing facts. I'll go first and Dan will follow. In February 2024, Land Rover invested 10 million to tackle the theft problem. Actually, I'm going to talk about that in a second.
Okay.
Because it's a little bit different to what they've made out.
Right.
So let's get back to that.
In 2021 to 2022, we saw a 47% jump in Range Rovers reported stolen. Again, like we mentioned with the in a previous episode with the watches, that's just reported. There will be so many more out and about that people either don't report to the police or that there's something a little bit fishy with it.
Yeah.
So that's just reported stolen.
As of 2022, 2 in every 100 Velar Dynamics were stolen.
Between March 2022 and 2023, Land Rover made up 6 of the top 10 most stolen cars. And so out of that, 924 per 100,000 Land Rovers were stolen. So that does include Defenders and all of the types of and the models of Range Rovers.
In 2022, 5,200 Range Rovers were stolen.
Between May and December 2023, as a result of this mess that we are in at the moment, the average price of a Range Rover dropped by 9.3%.
I think we'll find that's probably a lot higher now. Yes, and then the last point was Land Rover invested £10 million to beef up the security. That's the point. So the first point was Land Rover have invested £10 million to tackle the theft problem. But what they've done is the £10 million is actually to try and upgrade the security of older cars, which started with 2018 to newer cars, to bring in this new ultra-wideband technology for the key, which they say stops relay thefts.
Right.
It doesn't.
Okay. There's a shock.
So they are wasting their money, really. And yes, they are now moving to try and fix older cars, which are 2016 or newer. However, let's just talk about this investment, because what's happening is they are writing to all of the owners of Land Rovers, which must be through DVLA records, and saying, bring your car into a local dealership who are absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
Like if you need to try and book a car in now and you need a courtesy car, and it's a 3-month wait. So you've got a window of 3 months where your car might be stolen, and even when it is fixed, we know it might be stolen anyway because the new models are being stolen.
Yeah.
So they're saying the new models are unstealable. So this investment is actually giving back to the dealerships to welcome the owners that are their customers back to them, to then upgrade the security of the car, which actually has no effect anyway. So you may as well not bother. So if you own a Land Rover, you are a little bit stuffed because 1, it might get stolen. 2, it's dropping in value massively. If it drops in value, as we found out 2 days ago or yesterday, if it drops that much in value, you are then potentially in negative equity because you've got a loan on the car that is this much. You've paid a minimal deposit. They've dropped to this much, and it might be 6 months, 12 months old. Yeah. And now you owe the finance company money in order to get out of it, which is a bit of a problem. Okay, let's talk about why Range Rovers are being stolen, because this isn't new. No. Other cars are stolen a lot. Fiestas are actually the most stolen car, but there's millions of them on the road versus Land Rovers there aren't. And Land Rover come away from this saying, well, our cars are not the most stolen. Yeah, because by ratio, there's fewer of them on the road than there is Fiestas. So the Fiesta might top the list, but Land Rovers are actually still probably the most per brand, let's say. Right, so why? Dan, let's talk about that.
there are potentially hundreds of issues. We know the clear and obvious one at the moment is that they're simply easy to steal. We've all seen the videos that people on the Ring doorbells and their CCTV are captured that somebody is walking up with a laptop in their hand and 30 seconds later the lights are flashing off on the Range Rover. It is that simple because the technology is so bad. You only need to be within 5 to 20 metres for a relay attack. So all of these London terraced houses, which are so beautiful and picturesque, you're never more than 5 metres away from the front door to their Range Rover being parked.
And
so it's
therefore
like
the key, probably.
Exactly that. Is there a copycat effect? Are we seeing that people are going, actually, it's so easy to steal a Range Rover? We might move on to Range Rovers as well, and suddenly everyone's thinking, oh, actually, Range Rovers are so easy to steal. We're all going to go about stealing them.
Cutting a hole in the boot lid, that's how they access. Relay thefts, that's how they access. Picking up with a low loader, that's how they do it. Like every which way.
Exactly.
So the why they're doing it is because actually these cars, yes, they're easy to steal, but they're doing it because it's high reward, right? So what they're saying is if I steal this Range Rover, I can sell it for a really good price to someone that wants it, if you're not going to drive it, which some do. So they can sell a car, all the parts that can go overseas, because I heard that Russia were not getting any cars. No. So Russian mafia bosses were saying to the criminal gangs, go steal me a car and I'll drive a brand new stolen car around Russia. I don't care. You know, so I don't know what the rules are, you know, with re-registering it over there. They probably just stick a plate on it. And if you're a crime boss like that, do you care about driving a brand new Range Rover that's stolen? No. It costs you, £20,000 rather than £120,000.
And it's interesting you say that because we go back to the original £10 million which Land Rover are investing to tackle the problem, is that there is a chunk of that they're spending is to spend more money on policing at the ports.
Saw that as well.
Up and down the country. So they know that once these are coming out of London, they're going straight to Dover, Folkestone, wherever in the docks, being stuck in a shipping container. Yeah. And they'll wait.
And trackers are out. So chop shops and strip for parts, that's the other thing. So yes, they are going into a shipping container. You can fit two in there. We've all seen those photos of two cars
upside down.
Jammed like that. But strip for parts, because actually a car can go to a yard, be completely dismantled, doors, engines that are valuable, wheels, headlights, everything can be taken off, and then it can go in a shipping container, and then it can be sold. And there's probably no identification. Like with motorbikes, you get data tags, but I don't think there are stuff like that. Every single part on a Range Rover is traceable. You might have a part number, but it's not specific to that car. So there's still this part market as well as the whole car market. So that's why they're in high demand. So what is it like? What are being stolen and where are they?
Well, predominantly it's London, so it's actually quite interesting. It's quite hard to find the data on actual London thefts. We all know that London is the hub and the problem. All you have to do is go on the comparison sites or even come to us and look at the markets. We have left 4 Range Rovers that no one wants to insure them in London, but it is quite interesting that it's quite hard to get the data on the specific ones in London. Now, whether that is because are these people actually registering their their Range Rover to London addresses anymore, or is it their second country home out in the Cotswolds, which they're registering it and they almost don't want to spook the insurance companies?
Yeah, not telling them that they're using them in London.
But they are going for any Range Rover that is sat on the road, that they will chance their luck. We've always said it, we'll always say it to our clients. If there's 5 Range Rovers parked on a row on a street in London and you're the only one which has got a big bright yellow steering wheel lock on it, they're not going to go for your one. They'll move up and down the list, find whichever one triggers the key, off it goes. They're chancing their luck on every single one they come across. And
we'll talk about the security in this as well, because the security is the only real fix to it. And there's layers of security that you need in order to protect your car versus, the others that might be on the same street, for example. So cars on the road, cars on open driveways, best advice is to tuck them away, garage them, behind gates, behind bollards. We've had a client have his Range Rover stolen on the driveway in a very nice area, and he has 2 big luxury gates. They just, I don't know, they got through.
Yeah.
They managed to jam the gates and get through, because you imagine when they shut like that, they've only got the hydraulics keeping them shut. There's no actual lock or bolt or anything like that as well. So you can sometimes force them.
But there is a video, I can't remember which footballer it is, I want to say Reece James, where there's literally a crane. They bring up a crane and it just goes over the gate, it just picks up the Range Rover, comes out, off it goes. Like, admittedly, that takes a little bit longer than the relay attack, but I mean, it wasn't a pretty job, to say the least.
They've probably stolen that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So along with Range Rover thefts, all the car lifters are being stolen. Range Rovers and Steel Defenders, so what are being stolen? Range Rovers mostly.
Yep.
Any vulnerable Range Rover is going to be stolen.
Yep.
The myth that the new Range Rovers with the ultra-wideband technology or whatever else they say it's got are not being stolen is a complete myth. We know they're being stolen. I was in a taxi in London talking to an Uber driver. His sister bought one, a brand new one. A week later, it was gone.
Yeah.
So,
it's gonna be
and then, you go back to the point of the lifting with a crane onto a flatbed. That doesn't matter what year it is.
Exactly.
So maybe they'll just turn to that for all the new ones if they think it's harder to get into. Right, how are they doing it? Yeah, relay attacks. You only need to be within 5 to 20 meters of the actual key to pick up the signal, because the theory here, not the theory, but the technology is a key is always hunting for a car, and a car is always hunting for a key. When they get close enough, this is the keyless entry, you do not need to blip the key in order to open the car. The car will know that the key is in close proximity to then the handle it pops open or unlocks, and you can unlock the car, and that's what the relay attacks are. Yeah. It's too easy. And you can turn that function off, and you can deadlock the car by pressing it twice as well. But if you program a key, you can program an unlock.
Well, it's amazing that and I don't know too much about it, but I think you can get these devices for about 20, 30 quid off Amazon. You could these relay, the transparent devices are literally costing 20, 30 quid off Amazon. Anyone can go on about a nick a Range Rover if you fancy it.
Exactly.
Get some fake plates. You stick that on when it's round the corner.
Yeah.
A black Range Rover driving through London.
Who knows?
Inconspicuous.
Exactly. So the next few points we have left open for discussion. Where is it happening? Well, we know London, but actually anywhere. Yep. London mainly because of the popularity or the density of the population there. There are that many Range Rovers. Thieves do not need to look elsewhere. No. There's just so many there.
Yeah. And with the lack of parking you naturally get in London, majority of it's on street parking.
Exactly. So yes, there might be some underground parking, but most of the cars are going to be up on the street. Who are being targeted? Well, it doesn't really matter who. If you own a Range Rover, again, like we were saying in the previous episode, which is on watches, if you own a luxury watch or a valuable watch, if you own a Range Rover in this scenario, you are a target. Don't think that you are not. So if you own one of these, let's talk about the effects first, and then what advice we can give people, which are the fixes. So the effects here actually are pretty crazy because we've touched on it earlier, that the Range Rover prices are dropping like a stone because people can't insure them. And the market has gone from being, say 12 months ago, or even maybe more than that, it's gone from every insurer would insure Range Rovers to then the prices of Range Rovers themselves were getting higher. So then the market shrunk a little bit because that sort of gets rid of some of the direct insurers who don't have an appetite for cars that are, say, over £100,000. So that shrunk a little bit. Then it shrunk even more because so many were getting stolen. These stats of 2021 to 2022, 47% jump in Range Rover thefts. Like that was the year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
21 to 22,
that was when
where things started to really tighten up in the insurance industry. So these are the effects of the high volume of stolen Range Rovers are is affecting the insurance market, because the insurance market does not have an appetite to insure a high-risk item. Why would it?
Yeah.
There's so many people online that give insurance companies stick, and including Adrian Mardell, who's the CEO of JLR, saying, you should be insuring our cars. Hang on a minute, even their own scheme doesn't insure their own cars. So why should another insurance company insure their cars? So that's a bit odd. So the effect is that the market has gone from, say, 10 insurance companies that are happy insuring £100,000 Range Rovers to what? 2?
2 or 3, yeah, maximum.
What, for us, 1.
1, yeah.
In the broker market.
Yep.
On the direct market, 1.
I think I know Esure are still looking at the ones, but I know they're kind of the 90 to 100 bracket. Now, whether they're going to insure the brand new ones is TBC. But
they've been out a few years, so they should know by now.
Yeah.
But it's the value of them. A Range Rover Sport used to be 55 grand. Range Rover Sport now, 110.
Exactly. Yeah.
Double. So the effects are the insurance market is tightening up because they don't want to insure high value or high risk items. Why would they? Because you're just going to lose money hand over fist. Can't blame them, I'm afraid. The effect is that the other effects are Range Rover's dropping in value. That means the second-hand and new car market for Range Rover or Land Rover is shrinking massively because there are far fewer buyers out there that want to buy a car that is really hard to insure, really expensive as well, and potentially would get stolen. So you are sitting there knowing that one day your car might be stolen. So why would you put yourself in that scenario?
Absolutely.
So there are a lot of effects, a lot of knock-on effects, and therefore we need to talk about the fixes. So let's start with, there are 2 scenarios here. One, you already own a car. You need to do something about it to help a Range Rover. And 2, what are the fixes that someone like JLR can do, Jaguar Land Rover can do for their own product? Because actually the responsibility is wholly on them.
Yeah. And it is so interesting that no one is taking responsibility with this. JLR are blaming the insurers, saying they've not got an up-to-date data on the new models. Insurance companies going back saying your vehicle's still being nicked left, right and centre. It's just a slanging match. It's a slanging match between the 2 industries, and no one's taking blame. And then poor Mr. Smith, who's had his Velar a couple of years, now can't get insured in London.
Yeah.
He's got a great big
anywhere.
He's got a great big whopping loan on the finance. He's now into negative equity. Yeah. And he's stuck in the middle whilst you've got 2 bosses just blaming each other.
So the fix is for scenario number 1. Scenario number 1 is you already own a car. You might have had it 6 months, a year, 2 years. I mean, if you've bought it in the last 6, 12 months, you should know about this
100%.
effect and what's going on, because it's been going on for many years. So if you own a car, you will probably get a tracking device in it, and there are 2, aren't there, that come fitted in the Range Rovers.
Yeah.
And you will get an immobiliser. Now that's factory fitted. However, the issue is that they are generally fitted in the same place. One, I've watched quite a lot of programs on this. Car security experts say that these immobilisers can be deactivated in 6 seconds with the devices that you can buy off Amazon. So that's pointless and useless. 2, you might get a tracking device in it, but a tracking device is always is not preventative. Yeah. It's post-event. Yeah. Something's happened.
Exactly.
If you manage to be able to track your car and get it back, brilliant.
Yeah.
But you want to prevent a theft rather than be reactive to a theft.
Yeah.
So these trackers are installed usually in the same place in Range Rovers. And what do you think thieves know?
Yeah.
Exactly where they are.
Exactly.
So they know where they are. They know how to get them out, and they know how to hotwire them, and they know how to relay attack them. They know how to everything. They're one step ahead. So what you need to do if you own one of these cars is build up the security. So the preventative and the reactive. So what we're saying is everyone bleats on about ghost immobilisers, but if you can deactivate a ghost immobiliser, you can still drive the car.
Yeah.
If you have a no-go installed and you try and deactivate that or cut the wires or that's into the wiring loom, that deactivates the whole car anyway, so it immobilises the car and you can't drive it. So a no-go is far superior than a ghost immobiliser. Everyone believes on about ghost because I think it's just a known brand.
No name, isn't it?
Yeah. And then you need to beef up the reactive stuff, which is the tracker. And you can go and buy a secondary tracker and have it installed wherever you want it to be in the car. And therefore, you have far less chance of the thieves knowing where that is and therefore taking it out and therefore not being able to use it. So if the tracker is taken out, which is what they do with the originals, the tracking device is useless and the car can't be tracked. So that is effectively what you've got to do. You've got to put another immobiliser on it and you've got to put another tracker on it. And then you've got to do the obvious, which is put one of the big yellow steering wheel locks on it. If you're not using a steering wheel lock on a car or something else in addition to those two security devices, you're mad. Yeah. Because like we said a minute ago, your car's going to get stolen. Yeah. So that is they are the fixes for if you own a car now. If you don't own a car now, don't whatever you do, go and buy one. There might be great deals on them though.
Simple as that, isn't it? It really is simple as that at the moment. Don't buy a Range Rover.
So JLR need to fix this.
Yep.
So Jaguar and Land Rover need to up the actual sophistication of their security devices so that they are more like a no-go immobiliser that can't be deactivated in 6 seconds. And there perhaps are multiple tracking devices.
So the new security they're singing and dancing about on the new 2022, 2023, 24 models. What actually is that? Why is that so much better and apparently can not be relay attacked?
From what I understand, it's all to do with this ultra-wideband technology, which is harder to get into. Right. And you can deadlock cars with two blips on the key as well, and things like that. Now, that's what I understand. Now, I haven't read up on this for a little while. I've done a few videos on them so far, but it's to do with that. Right. There's just slightly better technology to do with the key and keyless entry. It's not a better immobiliser and not a secondary or better tracking device. So it's key related, but they can get around that. They can even lift it. So the £10 million they're spending upgrading people's key technology is not the solution. Yeah. The solution is install as from the factory better preventative security. Yep. If you immobilise a car, you can't steal it. That is the best way to stop a car being stolen. A little bit like we say steering wheel locks. I don't know why insurers don't insist on steering wheel locks being in, but there's no clause on any policy ever that says in order for theft cover to apply, you must have had a steering wheel lock on the time. I guess it's because you can't prove it.
How do you prove it? Yeah.
Unless a car's got a camera in it.
Exactly. How do you prove it? How do you not know that they've just ripped off the steering wheel lock and it's in the boot as they're driving away with it?
And you can cut them.
Yeah.
They can, one, break the lock, and two, they can just cut the metal, or they don't cut the steering wheel lock, they cut the steering wheel. Yeah. They just bolt cutters through the steering wheel and you slide it off. Yeah. So they're clever, these guys. So I think that covers the fixes. JLR need to up the security of the devices that they are installing in the car rather than the keyless entry. Yeah. So the keyless entry is just not where it needs, that's not the only upgrade they need to do to fix this problem. Until then, like you say, it's stalemate. Yeah. Because insurers over here saying, no, we don't want to insure any Range Rovers. Why would we insure a £100,000 Range Rover in London? Because it probably gets stolen. And JLR over here saying, we're making loads of £100,000 Range Rovers. Yeah. Why aren't you insuring them? Yeah. And then you've got this PR disaster of their own insurance scheme underwritten by LV at the moment. Yeah. And how many times have we been told by potential customers, oh, I'm calling you because I've gone onto Range Rover's site or Land Rover's site to buy Land Rover insurance. And the answer is,
sorry, we're unable to provide you a quote. It's that famous little screen you get at the end of the quote that everyone keeps putting online that they're not even astronomical rates or giving the reasons. It's just, and we know we've had a look, haven't we? We've had brand new Range Rovers for reliable drivers in a garage in the Cotswolds somewhere, and even those are not getting quotes.
Are being declined by their own insurance.
Exactly.
Madness. I'm sure there'll be more on this.
Yep.
as we go. This is going to be a developing topic.
Yep.
So that's going to wrap up our chat about Range Rovers and Land Rovers and the issues they have and the issues we are facing, because we would like to insure cars that are high value because the premiums are good.
Absolutely.
But we can't, which is a shame because we're missing out on good customers and good client base.
Yeah.
So I hope you've enjoyed this. Catch us on the next ep.
See you soon. Thank
Ciao.
you.